All right, and welcome. So, we're going to be updating the tier list for Metalstorm's planes, all of them. Was last updated, embarrassingly, back in August, and we did an update for the passives when they came out, but that was a tier list specifically for the passives of the planes themselves. This will be the like um, combination of the passives and the actives and the stats of the planes and how they fit into the meta and all of that put together. So this will be the and this is the level 20 max ability, max passive, max mods, high trophy levels. Like we're talking like basically where you're facing um, where you have mastered the plane in question and you are facing other people who have mastered their planes where they're using the full capabilities of the plane. So like this is like tournament level play and high level play and like 5v5 matches and just all of that stuff. And this includes um, considerations for team deathmatch and air superiority. We are not going to be taking into consideration priority target because as of this recording, that is still a temporary game mode. Um, there's probably plans to, add it to the permanent rotation or something like that. But right now, those have not been solidified. The game mode might change before then, so that factoring in might change as well. I might mention it a few times here or there, but the actual placement of the planes will not change based on how they perform in priority target, just team deathmatch and air superiority. So let's get into this. I'm just going to be going through kind of the planes, I think, in order here, and then rearranging them as needed. Um, as you can see, the Gripen has come out since the last time we updated this. We'll do a quick rundown of what these tiers mean first as well. So you can read them, but like S plus means like there is something about this plane that needs a nerf, whether it is the plane as a whole, or its damage, or some mechanic, or whatever. Basically, it is too strong in its current form, and it really could use a nerf. S rank is going to be just extremely good. This is top of the top, does its role extremely well. Like, there's nothing that needs a nerf, but it is extremely strong. Um, A is just overall very good. There's not a ton of weaknesses to it, and the weaknesses are usually overcomable with just using the plane into its role or using it for what it's good at or using mods to kind of lean into its strengths enough to be able to overcome that. Um, B is just overall, it's good. Um, there's usually like other planes in the category that do its job better, but it can still do its job, and they can be quite fun, and they can be competitive at high levels if you want to play them. Just there's usually better options if you're wanting to do that. So that's why they're down in B, and then C is just straight up needs a buff. Something about it is not strong enough or doesn't keep up or just like literally everything outclasses it or whatever. Just it needs a buff. Now some of these performance wise in that will be in C tier, you might be able to make work as a B tier plane despite its shortcomings, but it is going to stay in C tier because it really could use a buff that brings it up into B or A tier. And D is unplayable, and thankfully we are still without any D tier planes. All of the planes in the game are definitely playable and usable, just some of them could be used a little bit more love. So let's get into this. I don't know how I'm going to break up the chapters, but I'll probably just by doing it by the tier. So first up, we're actually going to move the F3R, the Rafale, out of S+. I still feel like 5-second cooldown at max ability is still a little bit short, and 10 would have made more sense. But considering how the meta has shifted and the power creep and all of the passives that'll come out, there are other planes that can overcome the arc pulse, and there's enough game knowledge out there to deal with arc pulse that even a 5-second cooldown on it is manageable in as far as facing them. So we're gonna move this down, and everything else about it, however, was very good, but it wasn't like the best plane in the game. So we're gonna move this down into S tier. We'll move it into where it needs to be here shortly, but we're just gonna move it into S tier for now because next up we're moving the MiG-19 into S plus. This has definitely shown that it deserves to be there. Now, I will say that the passive on the MiG-19 thankfully has not drastically shifted its power levels up. What it's done is, before you were dying in 4 bullets and now you're dying in 2. Like, there's not a noticeable difference in terms of, like, because, like, the situations in which the passive activates, which is, it's called Sneak Attack, and it gives up to 50% increased cannon damage against targets that, haven't spotted you with radar at all, or their team, which is great, but, like, again, it has not shifted its power levels significantly. What remains so strong about it is just its flight characteristics coupled with strong cannons and strong missiles that cannot be flared. So just, yeah, it needs either a nerf or a rework because it is so ubiquitously strong. I think it's actually going to stay as our only S plus plane right now, but if we get to anything else that is going into S plus, we'll get there. But I think that's going to be it. See, the ADV didn't really change. Its passive just helps you manage your fuel a bit better. It's fine. Like, it's still just very strong. A4. I'm actually moving this up. We're moving this down. So A4 with its passive is extremely strong. Now its passive, which is terrain confusion, can reduce radar missile lock on you by 50% distance. It's just, it keeps an already very safe, very strong plane even safer and even stronger. So this is the top of S tier. ADV right behind it. We're gonna move. Where are we gonna move? It's hard to say. All of these planes here at S tier are extremely good. I'd say the 25 went down a little bit because its passive didn't help it a whole lot. It helped a little bit, but like the adrenaline rush. Sorry, I'm jumping around here. The adrenaline rush didn't help it enough because unlike the A6 passive where you can use it at the beginning of a match to really get going, it only really helps you when you've taken damage. So it helps you get out of trouble, but not like into it as much. Where's the 25? Yeah, it's adrenaline rush. I'd say we're gonna stick the F3R. F3R is definitely still stronger than the M2K. I kind of like this setup here. The ADV at the top, F3R is right behind it. Su-57, it remains extremely strong. The passive has just helped it be even better in terms of like survivability. The 22 is really strong too, but I'm not going to put it above the F-16. Just, you know what? I might do this. I'm going to put the J20 below there, just because like its passive is really good, but just the sheer presence on the map that the planes above it on the list have are incredible. Like especially with the F-22 with its this what is it? IR masking passive. It keeps it very safe. It gives it a lot of options to move around the map. F-16's passive as well, which is Agile Disruption, which just messes with enemy cannon lock. It's just, that's crazy as well. Pardon if you're hearing coughing in the background. That's just my family having a little cough fest. Okay. I'd say like the M2K also, I will just briefly mention its passive really helped as well. Just what do they even call it? But yeah, it gunslinger flares. That's it. It really lets the M2K run disruptive flares instead of faster flares at high levels, which makes its joust capability even stronger. And as long as you're getting your gun kill, you're getting flares back, which lets you really chain through. So like, it remains extremely strong. That's why it's a yeah, the damage output from the M2K I think still keeps it above the F16, but like all of these planes are extremely strong. The 25 is still extremely strong, but I'd say it's at the bottom of that. We're gonna leave, or sorry, moving on to A tier. I think we're gonna leave the F1 here in A tier. Its passive does help keep it supplied with flares, but not like it's not a game changer as much as the M2K was, but it definitely helped. The F4 also really strong. I think it remains really strong. With its passive to like heal up, whatever, it lets it sustain on the battlefield a whole lot more, but it's not enough to make it like a bigger menace than it was. Um, Su-22, kind of the same thing. Like when you've got its passive maxed out, you can start popping flares as fast as you want when you're below 50% health, which is fantastic. Disruptive flares, like just burning through them quickly, like it's got a lot of potential. It just yeah, it hasn't moved above the other planes above it. Vigan, um, just a lot of fuel, just a lot of fuel. So it didn't really help it directly in any meaningful way. MiG 31 recovers a little bit of HP from its trades up in the air. It's nice, but I don't think it's changed how the plane plays or where it sits in the meta or how strong it is. So it's going to remain there in high A tier. F106. I actually didn't like this passive at first, but it's grown on me a little bit um, as I've seen it a little bit more. It's not bad. I think it remains. I think it remains where it's at. The FGR4, the passive seems like it would be good, but it's so niche in being able to utilize it to actually accomplish something, whether it's get back to health and survive. I've seen it happen once. Now, I'm sure it happens more than that, but like I've seen it happen once in a game so far. And being able to use the extra time to like I don't know cap a point or finish a kill or chase someone or whatever also is very difficult. So like yes, I think it stays where it's at. I think the other options are still a little bit stronger. Typhoon fans, like you could probably interchange between this and the 106 as far like they're about equal, but they do things a little bit differently. Um, A10's going down. A6 got a buff to its speed with that what is it even called? Burst afterburner. And I don't think the A10's passive is very good. It needs the passive needs a buff. I'll just say that the A10 passive that lets you like use your flares to disrupt missiles for nearby allies. It needs a larger radius to be able to use it more consistently. So I would like to see that buffed. But the A6 is just strong overall. It's got that jammer ability and just giving it extra speed to get around the battlefield and maneuver and all that stuff like periodically has really helped this plane maintain its place in the meta. Um, Su-47. Honestly, I'm tempted to put the 47 down in B. It's not good. The 47 got such a roll with the radiant flares to reduce heat-seeking missile damage by 50%. Like, it's not how you want to fly the plane. Take this with a grain of salt because I do not have the 47 at 20. So it's a little bit of estimation, but I don't think it's really kept up. So we're going to put this down in B. MiG-23. Again, the passive on this does not keep up. Like, I get the idea where it gives it a little bit more survivability, but like it has not kept up in the meta. I don't think the 23 stays at A tier. I think it's going to be high B tier. I think it's good, but it's not fantastic. So we're going to put this down in B. We're going to put this at the top, near the top of B, down there. F-14. This did get a nice buff. Problem is the altitude requirement is rather high. I'm going to put this above the A10. Maybe above the A6? Yeah, I'd say for air sup, especially the F-14 still performs a little bit better than the A6, even with the extra speed, and having IRs that can reach out and touch people a little bit farther is handy when you're doing interceptor battles. But again, like it is it's staying in A tier, but it's not going to go any higher than that, I think. And then last from the A tier is the M3. This got better. This got really better with its passive. The extra speed on its missiles and gun speed, like the bullet velocity, that scales on your own speed to a certain point, makes this a menace. It makes it an absolute menace in the air. It really messes with people's like evasion timing and missile like dodge timing and flare timing. It lets you like engage targets from farther away at speed. Like it really leaned into what the M3 is good at in like the perfect way. So I'm actually going to put this higher. Like if you've got a good M3 player, like they can do a lot of damage. We're going to go above the Typhoon. Do we do above the 106? It's pretty close. I think it's going to sit there. I think it's going to sit above the MiG-31. MiG-31's still really good. The M3 is a little bit more versatile, just from being that light fighter and the speed and air sup capable and just moving around the map. Yeah. I think that's where it's going to sit. Does it beat the Viggen, though? That's the question. I don't think it does. I think the firepower on the Viggen still keeps it at bay. Same with the 22. Same with the F4. Definitely still beat out by the F1. Just because of the extra maneuverability on the F1. But yeah, I think I'm liking where the M3 is sitting at now. So that's all for A tier, or what was an A tier. Let's move down into B tier. We're looking at, well, we talked about the 47 and the 23. We might move these around a little bit still. Let's do the 34. It still is not great. Where did I put it? Contour flying, yeah. Increased top speed and increased acceleration when flying within 150 meters of the ground. 15% increased top speed in that situation with some 25% increased acceleration. That's nice, but like you get better results from the A6 because you don't need to be near the ground for it, so you can use it more consistently. And just it's gonna stay there. F100 is going above it now because kill chain is excellent. Um, it can even detect Gripens. We'll do the Gripen at the very end. Um, mm, we're gonna do that. We're gonna put above the Su-47. I'm tempted to put the F100 into A tier with its kill chain, but I realize not everyone is like it requires a lot of mastery to use its full capabilities, but it's very strong once you've got it. So like as a refresher, the kill chain passive um, marks targets for up to 10 seconds, and the marked target takes up to 25% increased damage after you get a kill. And it really helps the F100 shred a lot like it used to originally, like when you could just like beam people with the rockets at maximum distance and such, and they'd be very accurate. This this really helps out with its firepower. Um, yeah, I'm gonna do this actually. I'm gonna move the A10 down into B because I think it's actually like it's still quite a threat, but we're gonna do that because just it doesn't have as much utility. It yeah, we're gonna do that. Let's go to. Yeah, I'll think about if I want to put the F100 higher than this for now, but it's gonna sit there for a few minutes at least. Let's move down. MiG 29. This got a huge lease on life with its passive Ghost Protocol. This is going in A tier, absolutely. Um, above the A6. Uh, yeah, I think I'm gonna put it around there. It's still not quite beating out the F-14 in terms of usefulness and battlefield and all that stuff. Whatever. Still not beating out the 106 or the Typhoon. The Typhoon just has better turning and also has armor pen on its gun, so it's yeah, it has extra range on its medium damage missiles, and yeah, it's just it still outclasses it. But like the MiG 29 is an excellent choice now. Like it used to be really mid, and now it is actually quite excellent. So like if you can really lean into this, yeah, I'd say this is a good spot for it. It's overall very good now. Let's move on. The GR3. GR3 passive absolutely helped it. It's gonna go up there. It's gonna go up there. It's gonna go up there. Um, it's gonna. You know what? I think I would actually put it above the A10. I'd still put the F100 above it a little bit, but GR3 is excellent now. Like it's quite good. The extra damage, what is it? Momentum shift. The extra damage is up to 25% increased damage, and while you're above 50% health, and 10% increased turn rate while you're below 50% health is exactly what the plane needed. It needed extra oomph to really shred shoot through targets, and it needed some, you know, evasiveness, whoever when it's in trouble. So it really helps the plane shine, especially when you really know how to lean into its strengths. So yeah, I'd put it above the A10, above the 47, above the 23. Again, this might be bias. Some people might put it above the F100. I'm going to put the F100 above it still, just because it is a little bit more maneuverable still, a little more reliable, I think. But yeah, the GR3 is quite good now. Let's move on. J10. J10 passive actually did help it a decent amount. What is it called? J10 Farmer Combo Strike. That's what it's called. You get up to 30% increased missile damage for 4 seconds after tagging an enemy with guns. It's quite good. Like, it, even at lower ranks, which I don't have mine maxed out yet, even at lower ranks, it can often secure kills or reduce the amount of missiles needed to secure them and such. Like, it really helps the plane do what it normally does anyways, which is like get a bit of gun damage on and do most of the damage with missiles. Yeah, it works quite well. We're gonna put it above the 34. Um, Flogger stands might not like this, but I'm gonna put it above the Flogger. Uh, I'm gonna put it above the 47. It's close. I'm gonna put it right there. I'm gonna put it above the A10 because like A10 still strong. Don't get me wrong, still strong. But the J10 actually can do things. Like it's got an interesting ability. It's got decent speed and turn rate, and the missiles are quite dangerous and difficult to deal with. So yeah, that's where I'm sticking it. Keep in mind, I'm doing this also with like keyboard and mouse in mind, so you're able to use look and shoot and like all of that stuff. That's the same thing for the J20. You're able to use look and shoot to its full capabilities, lock camera, all that stuff. The JF17. This is going up a few spots because the passive really helps its damage output and really shred people. It's going past there, past there, past there. I think I'm satisfied with that. I think it's above the Flogger, above the Burkut, but I think it's still below the A10 because it just it struggles a little bit with its maneuverability. I think if it had an extra degree of turn and its edge boosting ability, then it would be even higher. But I think that it sits nicely there. Um, yeah, let's move on to the Su-35. Su-35, I have not had a good chance to really dig into this passive, which is auto countermeasures. If you have a missile, if you have flares left when a missile hit should kill you, your aircraft automatically uses a flare and reduces the damage by up to 75%. Very handy. Um, Here we'll move them up there. And we'll move them up there. I think the firepower output from the Su-47 at medium range with mods and such is still quite good. It can do more things than the 35 can, but the 35 still holds up well, so I think I'm going to put it there. The F-111, this thing is taking a jump up. It's going up a tier. We're going to put it in A. We're going to move it up in A because this thing can just now win interceptor battles. The passive on it really helps it take it to another level. I'm gonna put it. This is tough. If it's just straight up like TDM or elimination or something like that, the F-111 becomes much stronger. Sorry, I'll lean forward here. The F-111 becomes much stronger. Its lack of gun still hurts it. Its low maneuverability also still hurts it. Like no short range options still hurts it. Radar only still hurts it because there's a bunch of planes now that mess with radar contact, so it struggles in there. I'm going to leave it at the bottom of A. Yeah, I think that's going to be a good spot for it. But it definitely made a huge jump from where it was. F5, it's still where it was. It's anti-radar flares. Up to 50% damage reduction when taking radar missile damage. Cool in theory, bad in practice, because you should not be doing that to, like, the protection time is so short that you have to be using it to parry a missile, and if you can parry a missile, you should be avoiding the missile. Like, it's just, yeah, it did not fare well on that. So it still performs its job as a light fighter, but it doesn't excel at anything. Yeah, it's staying where it is. J35. I think this plane is staying where it is as well. It's got like the Need for Speed passive can drastically increase your acceleration and top speed, like by 20% for top speed and 75% for acceleration. But, and I would almost put this in needs a buff because I want them to buff it, but the J35's passive is basically requires you to not move at all while you're charging it and then activating it and using it. You have to fly in an exactly straight line. Like, don't touch your controls at all. The moment you so much as tap them, it turns off the passive and you have to wait for the whole cycle to start up again and then charge up from scratch. It needs more like forgiveness in the turn and wiggle room over before it resets, and then it'll be actually more feasible and usable. It's still kind of neat that you can use it to kind of zoom across the map, but like because the J35 hasn't increased its offensive capabilities, like it's still very niche pick. It's still overall good, but it falls behind a lot of other options that are a lot easier to use or better to use. So it's going to stay at the bottom of B. All right, so we're going to move on to the C tier. This next one, the F-15, is one that a lot of people had their eyes on when the passives came out. What was it called? Undefeated. So basically every, as low as 20 seconds, if you would take a hit that would kill you, you just go down to 1 HP instead. It's helped, the F-15. It helped. But I don't think it's helped enough. I think it still needs some flight buff or offensive buff because give it hunter missiles or radar missiles or you know better top speed or something like that, like, or better acceleration, something along those lines. Yeah, where was it? 15. Heck, give it freaking cruising altitude like it should have. Just to really lean, because yeah, its top speed is 1450 kilometers an hour, but it's yeah, it should have better actual speed, low its ideal handle speed. Like it should get the F4 treatment in terms of that. Because it's not going to have the stress turning the F4 has, but it should get kind of the maneuverability rework that the F4 got. So yeah, it can help you stay alive a little bit more, but you're still going to die to a single tick of guns. And that happens so frequently that it's not enough to bump it out of needs buff. So it's performing better than it used to, but it's still there. Su-27. This one is still okay. Like, I haven't really had a chance to use this at high levels yet, besides for testing. But yeah, unloaded agility gets you up to 15% increased turn rate with no missiles. Like, that's nice, but it's still not enough. So yeah, I don't even think I would still put it above the F-15, just because the F-15 can unleash 4 of its missiles, is medium range missiles at a time, compared to the one on the 27. So like the 30, the 27 also is going to need a buff primarily to its medium missiles so that it can launch more than one at a time in the air. Su-30. Yeah, this didn't get anything in terms of like more useful with its passive, inescapable. Hitting a target with a missile gives you up to 250 meters of cannon lead reticle range and 50% missile lock range. If they're in range of your missiles, they're still going to be in range of your missiles. Like, sure, like it helps you when they're at the edge of that, whatever, but like, it's not enough. Sorry, that's the Su-30. It's still staying there. The Su-33 gets overheat override, which is you can fire your cannon longer. Ooh ah, it's still staying there. It hasn't changed a thing. F-35 did get more useful. It's still limited, but at least its usefulness is a little bit more where you can like lock a target and it gets marked and such, and that is useful, but it's hard to really measure. I haven't, and because it is so relatively simple to cancel its effect by just simply flying underneath something, and that happens frequently anyways, especially on a lot of different maps. It wasn't enough to really bring F-35 out of the needs buff category. It still needs more gun ammo. Still needs some better flight characteristics. Um, Maybe more health. I'm not sure, but it still needs a little bit more love. MiG-21. This is performing better. Because like the tagging a target with guns, with suppression guns, lets you put their flares on cooldown, which essentially means they can't use it for 5 seconds. I'll put it there. That's all I'm willing to do. I'll put it there. It's it still lags behind in capabilities in a lot of other places. Like it's like the least capable light fighter. I'd still pick an F5 over it. Like it, yeah, it still needs love. The F-18. This is the Hornet. This did see some increased capabilities. Where I put the F-18. Marked target. So damaging them gets you a 4% missile damage bonus and lock time bonus by up to 20%. Until they die or you hit somebody else. So handy. I'm gonna put it here above the F-35. I'm gonna put it above the MiG-21. Just its maneuverability stats, its guns stats, its single missile launching for mediums still keeps it below the flankers, which like feels weird. I could easily see an argument to put him like here. I might even do that. Should I do that? Maybe there? This one's really hard to tell. I haven't seen a lot of high level play in the F-18 at 20. Like it's almost never used. That's why it's like so it's difficult to get a gauge on it. Maybe one day when I'll get mine all the way to 20 and everything to 20 and I'm flying it, whatever, I'll get a better gauge on it. But like right now, it still needs love. And last but not least, second last but not least, but the Super Hornet. That is, it got actually a little bit better. The Bloodlust passive gives you up to 50% lock time bonus on anyone below 100% health. That easily puts it there. I want to put it above the fish bed, but because its flight characteristics are so bad, it loses almost every flight engagement. Like its roll speed is bad. It's like just the turn rates, but like it's just I'm gonna leave it there because the MiG-21 at least accelerates quickly and the passive at least is useful. Like, yeah, we're gonna do that. And now we've come to the end. So, drum roll, not actual drum roll. We're gonna stick the JAS39. Where is it going? Is it unplayable? No. Is it need a buff? Absolutely not. Is it good overall? It's better than that. Is it very good? Yes. Is it extremely good? This is where it really comes into play. Like, yeah, I think when you max it out and you've got Daredevil on it and you've got like the ability and the passive to really help you kill things, and especially if you're going to use it on air sup, it's going to be more, and like the confusion factor of disguise and the fact that you can just disguise yourself and stay disguised forever until you take damage, and the threat it poses on air sup alone puts it at least here. Um, yeah. Yeah, I think it's going to sit here. I don't think it necessarily needs a nerf. I think it's extremely strong, but it's actually like the weaknesses of its like HP being low and the gun not being long firing and all that stuff. Like the gun damage, base damage being low ish, letting you and like reducing the missile lock time when you're disguised, and like the basically the limitations they put on it to keep it in check helped keep it from making it the next MiG-19, where it's like too good at everything. It's very good at most things, but it is killable. Here's the thing. It is extremely frustrating to try and take out if the Gripen player plays defensively slash passively and basically really leans into his disguise, giving it immunity to missiles, and forces you to try and tag it with rockets or guns. Especially if you are not playing on keyboard and mouse. You're blind firing guns onto someone with no aim assist at all and no reticle to even try and aim at is very difficult. So I totally get people's frustration with this. Um, but I don't think it necessarily needs a nerf. It's I think it is working as it should. So yeah, this is much faster than my previous ones. So let's wrap up here. This is the new tier list for February, starting February 7th, 2026. Um, Hopefully, we'll get some balance changes in the future where some of these, sea level planes, no pun intended, can get some buffs to move them up into at least B tier or more. And hopefully, we see something done about the MiG-19 because it continues to be an extreme problem, and I think it does need a nerf now. But I'm glad to see that the F3R has kind of weathered its storm of how strong it was, and like other planes have kind of caught up to it, so it's no longer the outlier there. It's now like in good company as far as strong mechanics goes. So yeah, thanks so much for watching. Hopefully this gave you some more insight and info. If you have any questions on it, please leave a comment down below, or you can even reach out to me on Discord. Just Gale and Tome, all lowercase. You'll want to probably join the Metalstorm official Discord first, so that we have a server in common. But yeah, my DMs are open, so the comments down below, and we'll see you guys next time.